Well, good morning, everybody. Wherever in the world you are, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. Happy Friday. I hope you're wonderful and well. As you can see, I'm still freezing here, but all is good. At least we have some sunshine. And I hope you've all had a great week. I'm sorry I was not on last week, but here I am this week. So good to see you guys coming in. Nice to see you all. And as I said, I hope you've had a fantastic week. So yeah, I want to just go through the shows this coming week. So if you can just pop up a schedule there. And again, we have Bryce on Monday with the Emerald Tablets. And then on Wednesday, we have Double Dose Jessie again. And I'm sure a lot of you are very happy about that because she has obviously been away this past week. And then Bryce again on Solutions with the Sophia Code. And then again on Friday, I look forward to hanging out with Bryce and Catherine again and just chatting about whatever. So look forward to seeing you guys on these shows this coming week. And yeah, all is good here. However, as you always know, is the case on ARA on a Friday, drop in with ARA. I always like to just look at sort of topical things that are coming up. Sure. And the one, of course, that is hot on everyone's lips right now is this whole lab-grown meat that's been on the cards for, hello, Susan, lab-grown meat that's been on the cards for number of years now. They've been talking about it, and suddenly here it is. So I want to play you guys just two little video clips of what is in this meat. And even for us vegetarians or vegans that choose not to eat animal flesh, this is certainly not your solution from what we're hearing, and is actually quite disgusting. So I'm just going to ask Morné if you'll just pop up those videos in the back so we can just see what's going on with this gross.
I'm going to tell you what I just found out about lab-grown meat, and I can assure you, you are going to be disgusted. The source of this meat, they need fast-growing cells, replicating cells, just like when you have a farm that makes fruit from a tree. You don't want to plant a new tree every week. You want a tree that gives you a lot of fruit, and this is what they're trying to do with meat. And so what do they find? Well, there's something called an immortalized cell, also known as a HeLa cell. HeLa after Henrietta Lacks, who sometime in the 1950s had cervical cancer, and they removed her cancer cells, put them in a petri dish to see how long will they continue replicating, and they're still replicating today. So if you've already started to read in between the lines, you may guess where I'm going with this, that they realized the best source for fast replicating cells to make lab-grown meat that you're going to eat are cancer and pre-cancer cells. That means taking cancerous and pre-cancerous cells, literally putting them as the base and having those replicate to continue as a fast as possible pace, produce the meat that you're going to eat. And if that isn't disgusting enough, wait for part 2, and I'm going to tell you the second source.
Well, the second source is coming up now, but hold on to your horses because it's gross.
A lot of you are grossed out by my last post about lab-grown meat coming from cancer cells, and I told you I was going to tell you the second source. Well, here it is. If you're a vegan or a vegetarian and you're looking forward for lab-grown meat thinking that you're no longer killing an animal, well, guess again. The second source, remember that in order to grow meat in a lab, you need fast replicating cells in order for it to be profitable and to create the volume that's necessary. So, if you have an animal, the animals whose cells replicate the fastest are the youngest animal. And what is the youngest animal? The fetus that hasn't even left the room. There's something called fetal bovine serum, which means you take a female pregnant cow, you kill it, you extract the fetus while it's still alive, and you take out cells from the heart of the living fetus because they are healthy, fully nourished, the most powerful cells that you need to grow meat in a petri dish, and that's where you start. So this base for what we think is lab-grown meat starts with killing a fetus after killing its mother and extracting cells from its heart to make the lab-grown meat that you may be eating very soon.
I just have no words for stuff like that. You know, the more we learn, the more we realize how depraved this world really is. Because, I mean, and I want to just read you guys just excerpts of an article here. In fact, was from South Africa a year ago already. In June last year, this article was written. And I always keep saying to everyone that South Africa is the guinea pig for these New World Order guys, or the cabal, or whatever we call them. We always the guinea pig for stuff. So South Africans are well known for their love of barbecuing meat called braaiing in Afrikaans. But in a bid to cut down on the harm livestock farming does to the environment, one South African company has become the first on the continent to produce lab-grown meat. The Mzansi Meat Company started up about 2 years ago. Co-founder, Chief Operating Officer Tasneem Karodia said they have been funded by South African and overseas investors, most of whom have had an interest in the environment, animal welfare, and or health. Now, for starters, before I carry on, I mean, when we looking at stuff like video clips like we've just looked at now, and when we're seeing what's in there, and this, of course, is all about people digging in and really seeing what's going on behind the scenes, that are coming up with the truth of these situations. But yeah, they masquerade it to be something that is so pure and environmentally friendly, and it's, you know, all the vegans and all the vegetarians are now going to go, oh good, we'll take some lab grown meat and that's what we'll have instead of cow or meat or chicken. But let me carry on further. Growing meat in a lab begins with a fairly simple procedure, Karodia explained. We take a biopsy from an animal, and the biopsy is really kind of the size of a peppercorn. Now, they're not telling you where the biopsy is coming from and which animal it's coming from, are they? Right? Usually take it from the shoulder with some muscle and fat, and it's really quite a small process. And it takes 5 minutes and the animal is up and running again within an hour, she said. And from there, we process it currently in a lab. We do a few things to make sure that it works and continues to grow. Now, I'm wondering what those few things are that they do that make it work and continue to grow. Because when we're looking at behind the scenes, we can see what has to be done to make the stuff work and continue to grow. She said the company replicates the same conditions that are in a cow, just outside of the cow. So, for instance, the meat is put at 37 degrees because it's a mammal, and it is given sugars and amino acids. When we're a large scale, what this looks like is not really a lab, but it looks like a brewery, Karodia said. So cells will grow in steel vats like your beer grows. And that's really what it looks like at scale. She said because cells grow quite flat, the company is not able to grow steaks. So instead, it opts for minced meat to make burgers and sausage. At a barbecue or braai, well, now they're basically just saying that the restaurant owners are willing to try it, blah, blah, blah. But Greenpeace senior climate energy campaigner Nhlanhla Sibise said the organization continues to call on people to eat less meat to reduce methane, a harmful greenhouse gas produced by cows, which traps heat in Earth's atmosphere. So really, you know, at the end of the day, we're being sold this as a con. So now it's better on the environment. It's better for our health. It's you know, the whole thing that we've been hit with now is climate control, right? And this whole taking care of our climate. So when we're taking care of our climate, we've got to take care of the greenhouse gases that the cows emit, because Greenpeace is now behind this as well. So I think we really have to be so aware of what's going on here. And then we're looking at people like Bill Gates, right, who since 2013 has been buying up massive amounts of farms in the US. Apparently this trend started in the 2000s already, that the elites were now buying up farming land And Bill Gates in particular, for the last decade, is buying up all this farming land, and he's apparently allowing the farmers to carry on. He's just acting as the landlord, despite maybe very or sort of destructive farming methods they may have. But really what he's doing and what they're saying is now, because he's buying up all the farms in that industry, in the area, it's now not allowing the young new farmers. He's outpricing the young new farmers who are coming in and are wanting to buy farms and start farming. So old money is now grabbing all the farming land. I know that's what I'm reading is happening in America. I mean, when we look, obviously, South Africa, it's a different story. There's a whole lot of issues around obviously land, etc., from the days of the colonizers, and the land that obviously my ancestors took, and now there's a fight for that. But there's also big fight over farming and farming lands here. Now we see the meat labs have actually been piloted here in South Africa. So even though we are a massive country, continent with huge amounts of animals and place for animals to feed and stuff, yes, of course, it's up to us to ensure that it's taken care of and that our land is able to be farmed, because as a farmer's daughter, I know how important that is. But that doesn't seem to be happening. It's really just about ownership of property right now than what it is about teaching youngsters how to sustain themselves in the most precious way. And you know what Morné was actually saying earlier as well, we know about Monsanto and the seeds, right? For many years now, Monsanto has been doing their thing. But now they're starting their nonsense here in Africa as well with the traditional seeds, right? So now they've patented all these, obviously their lab-grown seeds, which we know can only be used once and they don't grow after that. So now the traditional farmers are not even allowed to sell their seeds anymore. It's now seen as a crime. And that's what's coming into Africa. And guys, I mean, let's just look at life. Life begins with the seed. We all begin with a seed. And when our seeds are being destroyed, and so many seeds being lost in the process, we can be sure that we're going to end up in some crazy ass place where everything has to be lab grown. And that's really all about the Luciferian culture and the inversion. In fact, there was a brilliant meme that I saw this morning, and I just want to say this, and I actually saved it. So let me just find it here this minute, because I want to just read it again, which it really speaks about what Satanism is, right? It says Satanism doesn't mean worshipping a red guy with horns. Satanism means taking that which is righteous and natural and inverting it. Most of society is satanic, and we don't even know it. Wow, how's that for a boom? Because if we think about it, we all go against the grain. How many of us are going against the very natural essence of who we are, right? I mean, I was teaching a workshop last night on receiving, what it is to receive. It's our natural essence to receive, right? But yet we find it so difficult because of our programming. So unless we can receive, we can't give, right? So we have to be able to receive from whatever your religion or spirituality is, right? That which is in you, and go back to the natural way of doing things, planting our food, taking care of that which is nearest and dearest to us, creating communities, keeping life alive, sustaining life in the natural way. And that is going to be the only way, in my opinion, that we get through this time. So many people are saying, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? This is what we do. Everything, and that meme is so profound, everything satanic is inverted. And the question starts, where have you inverted things in your life? Where are you going against the grain that you should be flowing in natural harmony with life? So it begins with us, our consciousness. We have to raise our consciousness. We have to raise our frequency in order for these guys to stop. Otherwise, they'll never stop. Why would they? We're easy pickings then, right? Anyway, and Dragonfly, I agree with what you're saying. Yeah, we all need to become seed collectors. Yeah. So happening here in Oz, yep, absolutely, Scotty. They've been doing it in Oz for a long time. I know that as well because I know I've got family there, and it's really quite disturbing. Anyway, yeah, I agree. What evil mind thinks up this disgusting process? There's nothing out of bounds for these guys. Everything is really up for grabs, you know. And it's so true. You talk to any of the high level survivors, and we're not cattle to them. You know, cattle are still, they've got a purpose. They see us as vermin, like vermin, literally lab rats. That's how these guys see us. And we are far from that. The only reason they try and break us down and use us for their purposes is because they want our consciousness. They don't have what we have. So the only way is to raise our consciousness, because then when we raise our frequency by doing things, we're acting in a way that we know we need to in order that is sustainable to you, longevity. You know, so many of us make decisions that are all about instant gratification. This is why the fast food industry is so big. This is why if you go to supermarkets, you buy your packed meals and everything is done for you. I mean, the other day I was so disgusted. You're buying peeled oranges nowadays in a plastic container. I'm going, are you mad? Are you mad? Why would you want to do that? Have you become that lazy that you can't even peel your freaking orange, right? So these are the things we need. We've got to push that stuff out of our society. We've got to demand these things change in our communities with our local supermarkets. You know, I know there's a lot going on here because in a small community, it's easier. You know the managers, you know the guys who run these places. It's easier to have these conversations. But honestly, this is the way that we're going to change it. We are going to change it. No one else except us. The thing that has to change is the way that we actually go about doing things, and the way that we got to change our habits in a major way. That's for sure. Got to get back to nature, back to that which is more natural before it's too late. You know, I don't believe it's too late yet, but you know, there are many of us that are just sitting by, watching, expecting others to do it. The time for that is over. We all have to become involved. And on that note, I hope you become involved in having a fantastic weekend for yourself and enjoy the rest of your Friday. I know a lot of our viewers are getting up now, and I know some of them are probably going to bed now, or just about. So enjoy your beautiful day, enjoy your weekend, and we will see you back on Monday again here on ARA. And yeah, take care of yourselves. God bless you all. And we'll see you very, very soon. Cherry byes.